Good evening. Oh, there we go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Gray Planning Board meeting for February 12th. I'll call the meeting to order. First up is roll call. Melinda.
Present.
Jenya.
Present.
I think I see David online. Is that right? Yes?
Yes.
I see him, but I don't hear him. David is maybe here. I'm here, Dan Cobb, and Charlie is excused this evening. Okay, next up is approval of the minutes for our January 8th meeting. Does anyone have any comments or corrections to those?
Nope.
No? Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
No?
Oh, making motion
I'm
to
asking,
approve.
sorry.
Okay. Making motion to approve
Is there a second?
minutes.
I wasn't here. I
Oh,
guess
you
I
weren't
could. I
here?
wasn't here,
Well,
so
you
I.
can second it. You don't
All right,
have
I'm seconding the motion then. But
Yeah,
should I
that's
probably
fine.
should abstain from approving it since I wasn't present.
That's fine. Okay, we have a motion and a second. There's no discussion, I'm sure. All in favor? So that's 2 and 1 non-vote. Okay, information exchange. Does the board have any information to exchange this evening?
I would just say that while I was not present at the last meeting, I see that there's some items that are on for this meeting, and I did review the materials and the minutes.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. Thanks for the homework. Jenya, anything?
Nope.
And I don't have anything. Kristen, anything from the planner?
Sure. Your next meeting, we will have the public hearing for the subdivision and zoning changes that are going to be proposed. There are some amendments mostly related to legal housekeeping and to updating to the LD 1829 density law provisions to bring the ordinance in compliance with state law, to clarify some things. So that will be going through the ordinance amendment process. So first to council at their March meeting, I think it's the 3rd, and then to the 12th with you folks for the statutory public hearing, and then back to council on April 7 if there are no substantive changes to go through and get that piece done. So it'll be ready for the July 1 deadline. And just on the agenda tonight, the Sandbrook South subdivision amendment, we had several amendments that are noted, issues that are noted in the memo that have already been addressed in some of the edits that were submitted on the 9th, and we've also had some review response from Goral Palmer. So a good amount of what's in the memo has been addressed, so we can go through that point by point if you'd like, and just highlight the the elements that still need review.
Okay. Yep, we'll cover that during
Yep.
that application. Okay, thank you. Anything from the council?
Next meeting is on the 24th, and I believe we'll be having the DOT there to talk about the Village Transformation Project. It's a massive project for this town, talking about redoing a lot of our roads and our intersections, et cetera, and it could be upwards of a $30 million project that, once approved, would take several years to complete. It would be doing all the drainage and everything. So it's a massive project. They're going to do a presentation on it, I believe. And I think on March 4th, they're going to be here at night with all the plans for people to come in. But it's going to have a big change on our town if we go through with it. And we'll be talking about the finances and such for that. So definitely something people should keep an eye on.
Can you just repeat the dates? You
Yeah,
said
so the 24th is our next meeting.
Okay.
And then I think it's March 4th, and we'll announce it again, where the DOT will have here. They'll have all the blueprints out, but we're going to be redoing different intersections. And like I said, the drainage, it's like I said, it's about a $30 million plan. The nice part is our contribution to it would only be 10% of that. So $3 million-ish, 3.1, which hopefully we can cover with some of the TIF money. There are some additional costs, so we want to keep an eye on that because that TIF money can be used for other things. We don't put it all into that. But again, it's a several-year project in the making, but would really transform the town.
Cool.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Water pipes. in the downtown.
All right, sounds good. I'm going to keep us moving. We've got a lot to cover tonight. So next up is new business, and we have to do our annual election of officers. We typically do that in January. I was hoping to hold off because, Melinda, you weren't here. I was hoping to get everyone, but unfortunately Charlie couldn't make it, so we're just going to go ahead and do that this month. So we need to take nominations and vote on a chair and a vice chair for 2026. So open the floor for nominations for chair.
I would like to nominate you for chair of the planning board. You do excellent work. I would
Thank
love
you.
for you to continue.
Second?
Well, you don't have to second it. Are there any other nominations?
Nope.
No.
Are you sure there are no other nominations?
Certain.
I don't see hands.
Anyone on the floor have any nominations? Okay, so we'll vote on that. All in favor of me as chair for 2026? I think that's unanimous, 4-0. Thank you for your confidence in my leadership.
Thank you for your service.
So let's do vice chair. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
Well, Melinda, you will be the one.
Okay. All right, I accept.
I see where things are going here. Any other nominations? Okay, we'll vote on our vice chair for Melinda. All in favor? And that's also 4-0. Congratulations. I may just not show up at a meeting and let you practice running it.
Give me a heads up so I
Yeah,
can
I would-
plan
I will.
accordingly.
Okay, let's keep going. So continued business. This is Egypt Road, Sandbrook South Subdivision, final plan review, a request by Habitat for Humanity of Greater Portland, represented by Northeast Civil Solutions, for planning board final plan review of a proposal to create a 7-lot major subdivision on the 23 plus or minus acre Rory Maloney property abutting the town of Raymond line on Egypt Road at tax map 11, lot 308-261-007 in the Lake Zoning District and Shoreland Stream Protection Zoning District. This proposal is subject to major subdivision review and shoreland zoning standards. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Jim Fisher with Northeast Civil Solutions.
So
Joined-
just before you get started, I know you're very detailed going through everything. I think what I'll ask is you can do your overview, but let's not get into addressing the planner comments, because I think I'll kind of walk us through them one by one, because
Okay.
some, according to the memo, you owed us something, and there were new, as Kristen alluded to, there's a new email like this afternoon around 3:30. I didn't get a chance to open it, so I don't know what's in it. So I think
Okay.
you'll walk us through what's already been addressed
Sure, yeah.
and what hasn't. But
Yep,
I'd
Jim can.
rather do it point by point in the memo than have you go through everything and then have
Sure.
to go back through it twice.
Absolutely. Happy to do
Thanks.
it. You're saving me time as well.
Yep.
So again, Jim Fisher with Northeast Civil Solutions, here with Travis Letelier, who's the design engineer, also with Chad and Ryan from Habitat, whose project it is. It's right across the street from the 2-lot subdivision that we approved earlier this past year. We've been out to the site now, or we've dealt with this project several times. We're here with the sketch plan, did the preliminary approval this past month. We're here for final approval this evening. We did do the site walk back in November, so we're pretty much familiar with what's going on as far as where it is and what it entails. We do have the myriad comments that were submitted, and we've addressed those. There are a couple of conditions of approval that I can get into later, but I'll let Kristen go through some of that list first, and then I'll come back to you with that. A couple of those are pursuant to the comments that we received this afternoon, but they're very easy to deal with. Given that, given that we all pretty much know the project, and it's not a huge one, but 7 lots notwithstanding, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman, and feel free to ask any questions, and I'll address any comments that you have.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, the late breaking news is not great. I don't love it. Typically, we try and have everything submitted to us in time where it can get into the memo and be addressed, and we're looking at a more concise package, but we'll go with it because, I want to balance that with keeping people moving on their projects, but I'd really like to get away from accepting like day of updates from applicants and engineers and stuff like that if we can.
Okay.
So that puts you in the unfortunate position of telling applicants they need to get their stuff in sooner, but I think it will make a better end product for our decision making. So I guess with that, let's start with the town engineer memo. So typically, I think the board, anything that the town engineer is suggesting, we're generally going to go with.
Yep,
So
and
we're gonna
there are
wanna
two.
make sure that the town engineer is satisfied. So I guess then I'll turn it over to you to tell us that they are or are not satisfied.
Okay, I think it might make sense to start with the staff ones because a lot of
Okay.
them are kind of overlap.
Okay, sure.
So
Let's do that then.
the first staff comment was with regard to driveway detail.
Yep.
And those have been submitted now, and they have been reviewed by Goral Palmer per their February 9th memo. And they were good with that. I think they had a couple comments, but were mostly good with that being submitted. So I would consider that submitted. Staff comment number 2 was a question about super elevation or crowning of the road. The applicant has addressed that there are both types of areas on the road. I'm sure Jim can give you more detail if you'd like it, but they both drain toward the road. So it's not intended to, it's intended to kind of gutter and not send water into the road or away from the road. So that's been addressed. The comment number 3 is with relation to the walking trail. That was more my question for the board. I didn't have a lot of clarity on what exactly you wanted for trail detail, and the current updated plans just show potential trail. So that was kind of flagging that for you guys. If you want more detail on trail or if you want signage or whatever, that needs to be addressed. If not, then we're good.
We'll come back to that
Yeah.
one.
Comment number 4 was the test pits. They have addressed that. They're showing a set-aside area for a backup leach field, should that be needed, per the ordinance as required. Number 5, the permitting, as Jim mentioned, that's in process and would be a condition of approval, as it typically is because of the timelines that they are applied for or need to be applied for, and they're aware of that. Number 6 was the bigger piece where we did get important feedback from the consulting engineer in time for tonight's meeting related to the flooding standard and the phosphorus, the waivers that were being requested. So at this point, Goral Palmer has reviewed that the flooding standard is met, and because of that, it's all related, that the phosphorus management piece is also appropriate to waive due to that being met. And I'm sure Jim can speak in much more detail and more clearly if you have questions about that. But I can tell you at least that Goral Palmer has reviewed the updated plans and signed off on that piece.
So they've demonstrated that general standards have been met.
Correct.
So therefore, a waiver is not required.
Yep, you don't have to do a formal waiver for phosphorus. Flooding should be, the flood standard should be, and that is in the waiver list in your sample motion. Dead-end intersection lighting. There were feedback from Goral Palmer. They were suggesting that they do a street light at the intersection with Egypt Road, but not at the dead end, kind of a compromise, rather than waiving both. Up to you guys, that's their feedback. And again, monumentation, they had some feedback as well about doing kind of a partial waiver if you're open to that. The wetland impact in note number 7, lots 5 and 6, showing buildings within the stream setback, that's been addressed on the updated plans. So that doesn't need to be discussed either, that's been fixed. And then all the notes in number 8 have been addressed on the updates, other than the perimeter buffer, which was not quite shown appropriately on the update, well, not shown at all on the plans you have, and not quite shown appropriately, I think to a point that we understood where it was supposed to be in the updated plans. And I've spoken with Travis about that, and they're ready to speak to that tonight about the perimeter buffer. It is a 100-foot buffer from the road in the Lake District, and there may need to be some discussion of the board potentially looking at not having it be 100 all the way across because of the way it's laid out, and I'll let them speak to that. You do have the authority to do that in the ordinance, in 401.13.13b, dimensional standards. You have the authority to reduce setbacks that are in that table. So that
Sorry,
is
why am I
your
not seeing
purview.
the perimeter buffer?
It's part of number 8. It's like the second dot. First dot. Perimeter buffer setback is to be shown, but is not shown on the subdivision plan. Staff comment number 8.
First bullet.
Oh, got it, sorry. I don't know why I couldn't, yep.
So it is, they are working on showing that piece appropriately, but may not be able to meet it all the way across, and I'll let them, again, speak to that. And then the engineering comments, I believe they can speak to. I don't think there are any issues of meeting all of those. I'll let the applicant address that. But as far as my comments, a good chunk of that has been addressed in the digital updates you were sent on the 9th.
Okay. Any additional comments on what Kristen just went through? With all that?
Not on the, notwithstanding discussion about the waivers, if you wish, not on the staff comments so much as far as the engineering comments are concerned. These are the comments that we received this afternoon. They are requesting, or they're suggesting that we include a detail for a proposed guardrail. They had suggested a guardrail there. We don't have a problem with that. So we can do that as a condition of approval. It's literally just a drop-down menu detail of a guardrail. So we can certainly include that. That's under a roadway, under the engineering comments. And then they added number 4 on the engineering comment, or the stormwater comments. You talk about calling out drip edge filters. It's actually on the plan. I think they just maybe have missed it. On your plan, sheet 4, it's actually over on in the comments, it's over on the right-hand side. So that is there. It's a viable comment, it's already addressed. It's already on that plan. And then the only other comments from the engineering section, well, they wanted us to put contours on the buffer plan. The contours are already on 2 of the plans. We can add them again on another plan if you want. The contours are already there, they're just not on the buffer plan. So we can certainly do that. That's the buffer treatment plan, but which is no issue. Again, that's just popping contours on a 3rd plan that's already on there. And then the others were literally just the conditions of approval for the DEP permits and the Corps of Engineers permit, and those are underway, but we typically don't receive, there's in many cases several months lag time between application and actually receipt of the permit. Fortunately, as far as any town is concerned, we cannot do anything as far as construction is concerned until any state permits or federal permits are actually issued. So as far as a condition of approval is concerned, all we can do right now is basically wait for them to come. It could be sooner, it could be later. Whenever they do come, we'll provide them immediately to the town, and at that point, then we would apply for the construction permit. Other than that, those comments have all been essentially addressed, again, notwithstanding the waivers.
Okay, thanks. We'll get to the waivers a little bit later. So we already held a public hearing on this. I do see a number of people here in the audience. So I'll quickly open it back up if there's anyone interested in speaking on this application. Okay, don't see any, so I'll close the public comment. All right, so board discussion. So first one, engineer driveways. You happy with what Kristen came up with there?
I am, yeah, I'm satisfied.
Any comments, David?
No, I'm happy with it.
Okay. All right, so we're good there. So let's see, the walking trail, we should cover that. So I thought we already had landed on something here, but it could have been a different project. But typically what we do is leave it to the planner to make kind of the final determination with the applicant on the trail layout and signage and stuff like that. We've kind of been through this before a bunch of times, and it gets like we don't want to be doing design work here at the planning board. And you know, it's a basic wooded walking trail, so it should just go in a sensible location and path, and have some flexibility to basically, to may have the planner kind of make the final agreement with the applicant and agreement on appropriate and amount of signage. Like, I don't think we need to dictate that here without knowing exactly where it is and where it.
The one thought I have is that I would like to see it built, like
Oh, yeah.
improved, right? So not like, okay, we could do a trail here one day in the future, but
No, yeah,
when this is
absolutely.
developed, a trail should be developed
Yeah.
and should be marked. So that
Yes.
would be the one, if that was in question, I think that's where I would land, but I agree that it's fine, that we don't need to decide where it goes or how it should be marked. It can be handled at the planner level, but just want to make sure that it happens when it gets
I
developed.
skipped over it. It went without saying. for
Yeah,
me
well,
that it needed to be built, but
I
sorry.
felt like it should be said, just, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you, it should go without saying, but, yeah, so.
Okay. David, anything else on the trail from you?
No, looks good.
Jenya?
It's fine with me.
Okay, so build it and work out the details with Kristen is where we landed. Does that work for you, Kristen?
Yes, yeah, I just wanted clarity if you did want it built, because right now it's shown as proposed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so probably the words
More
on the
detail.
plan should be something other than proposed. It should be.
Trail
it should-
system?
Trail system, but it should be located where it actually is, or where it actually will be, as opposed to where it might be.
Right. Okay. So, Kristen had a question for us on building envelope layouts for lot 5 and 6.
That one is moot now,
That's
that's been
moved now?
updated.
Okay. All right. Waivers. Let's look at waivers then. So we've got 4 waiver requests. First one is the one that we get quite often for stone and concrete monuments at all corners. And the recommendation from the engineer was retaining at least some of the granite monumentation. And their recommendation was to utilize granite or concrete monuments on at least one side of the right-of-way or at critical points such as points of curvature and tangency. Which I'm on board with something like that. I don't feel like you need a granite monument at every property corner. I think steel pins are more feasible and they're easier to locate when they get lost under leaves and things like that. But it's probably a fine idea to have the road right away marked with the granite. And it's reasonable for them because the access, there's already a road there, so if they need to bring a piece of equipment in to set it, they're not trying to move it all through the woods, so.
I agree with what staff said. I would say the reason that there is a rule for this is because pins, while yes, they're easy to find and easy to set, they're easy to move. And I have had that happen. So that's why the rule is there. But I would be fine with the compromise of having the granite monuments in more limited spaces that are a little bit easier to put in place.
Front.
Yeah, front.
And the rear will be stakes, which is perfectly
Yeah,
fine.
okay. So, is there a motion to,
Mr. Chairman,
yeah, sure.
may I?
Yeah.
As far as the compromise is concerned, bottom line is, if we want granites, we'll set granites. It is a little bit more challenging in a situation like this just because of the rock that's out there. What I would suggest, or what we may suggest, is at the entrance to the public right-of-way along Egypt Road, we can certainly set them there because DPW, the Director of Public Works, or the state does the plowing and the maintenance of the road. And it's good to be able to see some granites there. As you mentioned, they don't move. Well, they're not likely to move.
Yeah.
For the rest, so there's no issue as far as setting those granites right at the intersection of our road and Egypt Road. As far as inside the road is concerned, it's a private road and will always be a private road. If it were in town, if it were a public road or a commercial property adjacent to a public road, I would say you're probably right, because from plowing or other municipal maintenance, even though they're a little bit more challenged to see, they're still there and they're not going anywhere. Pins, you're right, let's call it what it is. Pins can be removed, but they usually aren't. But on a private road that's to be privately maintained with no direct action by Public Works or anybody else, I'm not really sure what the viability of a granite monument inside the roadway would do. Once the road is laid out and actually constructed, which it has to be, I mean, we will literally go out there as surveyors and lay that road out. Setting the granite monuments along the road doesn't really serve a purpose, because the public will never be doing anything out there. As opposed to where it does meet the public road and Egypt Road, which does make sense. So as far as the compromise is concerned, I would just suggest that we'd be happy to set them there. But internal to the private road, I'm just not sure that they would do any good.
Does the requirement to have a granite monument inside of the roadway?
Well, that's what they're talking
For
about.
subdivision, it is to delineate the right-of-way. Yeah, I can pull up the language if you'd like.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Like, do you drive over the granite monument, or it's just
Well,
inside
it's
the?
not the travel lane necessarily.
Okay,
It's
all
the-
right.
It's the 60 foot or whatever it is
Okay,
right away.
all right, gotcha, okay.
I don't have a strong opinion. Like,
I'm not as worried about that, I guess. I can, especially if there's ledge to be dealt with, that makes it even harder.
I mean, that's a him problem, not
Yeah,
a
I
us
know,
problem. But
right.
I'm fine with granite just at Egypt Road. I don't
I'm okay with it.
really see
Yep.
any value. There's so many pins there that
Yeah.
if one gets pulled out,
There's a bunch more, yeah.
there's 25 locations that someone can centralize on to get it put back.
Yeah.
So, all right.
We'll have to
we
bring
have a motion.
equipment.
Motion for that waiver then?
I move to approve, partially approve the waiver and have the granite monument set in the, near the public way. Is that
So,
enough of a
I don't
waiver?
know.
From the
Did you-
side of the Egypt.
Was there one to read? I should have read one.
Should probably,
Hold
I
on,
wouldn't-
withdrawn.
yeah,
me
you
fix
should
it.
probably make a motion to approve the waiver and
Hold
then
on.
read it as
Yeah.
opposed to partially approve it.
Yeah, hold on.
So approve it, and with the exception being that the granite monumentation are only for the 2 points adjacent to Egypt Road.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that the monumentation waiver request as per 401.13.1D be approved, subject to the installation of granite monumentation of the new way and the public way.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor? That's 3, David. Let's see, hand. I'm not sure our connection is great because
He
the
looks
video
frozen.
looks frozen, so it's at least 3-0, so it's gonna
Okay.
pass
I say
either
yes.
way.
You say
I
it was
voted yes.
Can't hear. I think you said he was in favor.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in favor.
Okay, unfortunately, the video's frozen, so we're gonna have to go with voice.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, next up is streetlights. This is a waiver for the requirement for streetlights at the road intersection and subdivision road dead end. What's the board's wish on this?
I am usually in favor of less lights, and if they're interested in having the one at the dead end be removed, I think that sounds fine. This is a very rural area. I doubt that anyone down here needs a street light. And the one at the intersection, as long as it's downward facing, likely would be sufficient to address any safety issues. I assume the neighbors don't mind the one at the intersection. I don't know if there's any other street lights on that street at all.
There are no
He
other
doesn't-
streetlights.
He doesn't want any.
I know. Oh, he
And to his point, there's none on the road, so I personally would be I'd be
Oh.
fine with waiving both of them.
Was it the staff that said that?
The
That's what-
engineering comments
Engineering.
suggested one at the intersection
Yeah.
of Egypt.
Somebody tell me what about this subdivision makes it need the first street light?
I don't think so.
Not a good example
Yeah, no,
for the future ones.
I don't like. I'm all right with granting the full waiver and having none of them. I think that would be better for this neighborhood, personally.
Let's keep it rural. Let's stay
Dark
away
skies.
from the light pollution. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would be fine.
David, we have video from David, so he's
Oh.
back.
But he's on mute.
Oh.
Yes,
Thoughts on
I'm back.
the street light waiver?
yeah, I'm in favor.
Okay, so,
Right.
get a motion for that one?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the waiver for streetlights at the road intersection and the dead end.
Second on that.
seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor? It's 4-0. I think the other two you could wrap together to me because, I mean, they don't even need the phosphorus one, the flooding. The engineer told us they met, so
Yeah, so we don't
I think,
need to even, do we even need to address those waivers? Because if they aren't seeking them, if they're addressing the standard, then we don't even.
The flooding standard, I believe, still needs to be formally
right.
waived.
Okay. All right.
flooding needs to be waived, I guess. I mean, they're
Believe-
seeking the phosphorus one. They don't need it, right? I mean, you just want it,
Correct.
right? I'm sure he'd rather just get it.
Okay.
So
All right,
I would
well,
just do
I'll
both
do a
of them.
motion for both of them. I move the approval of the requested waiver for a phosphorus management plan and for the flooding standard. Period.
You want to just read the?
Oh, do I need to read all of the-
I
okay.
don't know, just read the numbers to,
Okay, strike that, let me try again. I move to approve the waiver requested related to the phosphorus management plan pursuant to 401.7.3 D and 401.13.16 B1 B 11? I
See a
hate
different
Roman
number here.
numerals. Oh, wait, what's that? All right, I'll read this. I move approval
is
of,
it different in two different parts of the memo? Is that
Well-
what you're saying?
this is the requested waiver, it's got these two, like this really long one. Maybe that's not. Maybe I just need to do this.
Just,
That one.
Yeah, yeah.
And not that one.
Yep.
Okay. One more time. I move approval of the requested waiver for the phosphorus management plan per 401.7.3D and approval of the requested waiver for meeting the flooding standard 401.13.12G per staff recommendations.
is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor? It's 4-0, so you have all your waivers. Okay. So yes, we are, assuming the board is willing at final.
The outstanding element is the perimeter buffer.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
right.
We do
thank you
need
for
your
reminding me of
input on that.
Is that a
Yeah,
requested
That's not-
waiver or something?
no, that's
Okay.
the outstanding bullet number 1 on
Okay.
staff comment 8. Talk to us about your perimeter buffer.
Okay.
You almost got out of here. but-
All right. So the municipal requirements have a 100-foot requirement from the roadway, the public roadway, excuse me, for any given development anywhere, and then 40 for side and rear. The 40 for the side and rear are shown all the way around the properties, or all the way around the lots within the overall property. the 100 feet actually extends, the way this is designed, it extends from the Egypt Road way right now. You'll see on the plan, on this plan, if you take a look at it right here, so this is Egypt Road, right over here. Way back when, I don't know for sure, probably 100 or more years ago, there was a trail that became a road, which came down this way. When DOT came by and did their taking on this side of the road to be able to ease out the curve, and this is not just in this area, this is everywhere. These roads kind of, it's like, you know, the old Civil War ridge roads. They kind of went here and they went here and they went here and wherever the trails would go. So the DOT abandoned this, but they never formally vacated it. So when you take a look at the actual boundary for the state, it comes through here. But the roadway is Egypt Road, which is over here. Now, for those of us who are on the sidewalk, we walked through this area, and you can see by the topography here, this particular section in here is exceptionally steep. The point being is that the DOT, and I'm not speaking for them officially, obviously, but the DOT has this property, but they don't do anything with it. This little triangle right up here actually belongs to us. So this is where, when they did their taking and smoothed out Egypt Road, they just said, we don't need that anymore. And when we were out there walking the property, we saw that this is probably, and this is my estimation, 60 to 80 years of growth. We saw standing trees that are 40, 50, 60 feet high, all in this particular area. So practically speaking, this area is all wooded. And the 100-foot setback from the edge of Egypt Road, we meet that with the road that we have right over here. So the issue is more of, which, as Kristen mentioned, it's not a waiver per se, because it's just the board being able to grant this, is to be able to say, we have 100 feet from this portion of the edge of the road of Egypt Roadway over to our roadway. That's not an issue. It's there literally. So what we would ask from the board is that that's really not an issue as far as the 100-foot setback is concerned. It exceeds that, exceeds 100 feet. Now, there's a small area right over on this side, at the end, the westerly end of the roadway, that is less than 100 feet from the edge of Egypt Road. It's a little triangle that's right in this section right over here. Now, when we were here last time, we talked about, and when we were out there at the site walk, we spoke about this section of the roadway, why it's designed that it can be built with the driveway to this house, proposed house right through here. There's really no reason to build a road to nowhere. So from the road, from an improved road perspective, we're not going there. So this driveway will literally come up right here, and then obviously the road comes down this way, and the other driveways come off of that. So what we made the presumption, and we're asking for the board to formalize it essentially. Again, it's not a waiver, it's just your opinion, that the 100 feet is either met in this section, in the major section right over here, or doesn't really need to be met for this section that's right over here, this little triangle that's over here. And that because we've still got this whole area, this is a stormwater buffer between this section and the actual roadway for Egypt Road. In a nutshell, that's what we're looking at.
What's your theory on why it doesn't need to be met on that triangle as opposed to not building the road to nowhere?
I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
There's all kinds of double negatives. That was really unclear. So I think it makes sense what you're saying with the 100 feet in the middle. That all makes sense that you've met it. There's a sliver or a triangle on the dead end, we'll call it, or the hammerhead.
Yep.
That doesn't meet it.
And that's right, and we showed that the road can go out in that far, but because it dead ends and there's no reason to push it out that far, even if we did, it would still be about 70 feet from the edge of the Egypt Road roadway and where this roadway would be. We're not even planning to actually build that, because again, I mean, even if we're gravelled as opposed to pavement, There's no reason to actually, from an environmental perspective, to literally crack into the earth that's out there. This is, when we started at the other end and we walked and we ended up there, up on that flatter plane, it was, you can see by the contours, it was reasonably steep over in this area. We can go through that, you can crack it and pull out the rock, et cetera, but why? Why bother? Because nobody's ever gonna use it. The driveway that's going to Lot 1 right here is actually designed, part of your plans, to come right through this section. So again, it's that road to nowhere. I know it's a cliche, but it doesn't go anywhere. So the necessity of having 100 feet setback from a road that's not going to be there, we would just ask the board to consider that, and we just don't think that's necessary.
And the concern is it's also marked as reserving a right-of-way for potential future development. So,
It could be, if somebody develops
Right,
on the
so-
Raymond side of the overall property line, they could bring that in there. They wouldn't have, it's on the Raymond side does not have that kind of setback requirement. So it would only be this section that's right in here that would be the connection. And, it's going to be, let's call it what it is, it's going to be less than 100 feet, if it ever does get built out that way.
and
And
you're
it would-
saying you're not intending on building it anyways?
We're not intending on building anything there. I mean, this would be the Habitat project that's got the buffer right through there. There's no reason to go over that section. It's actually kind of uphill from where the road is going to be, so we don't need, it's not designated for snow storage, it is for right here, but snow storage would be like off the end of the road right down in here. There's just no reason to improve it. And if it does come from the Raymond side, if this board doesn't have an issue with that portion of the triangle, well, I'm not going to speak for Raymond either, but they don't have the same requirement. So it could be a private road connection
Was
in the
this
future.
a Public Works input comment about having that on the plan?
Not having
No.
setbacks on the plan?
No, having that,
No, the right-of-way to connect for potential future development is in the ordinance. It's that it shall be set aside and shown that it's there, so you're not building on it in case someday somebody wants to
Okay.
connect. It's a requirement of the ordinance. It's not something
got it.
they chose to do or anyone asked for.
Is there a reason not to have that section that you're not gonna build, shift down a bit so that you can meet that buffer in the unlikely event or in the possibility that a road does get built in the future? Like, why not just have that road tip a bit so that you meet your setback from the road? Does that have a consequence I'm not appreciating?
No, it's a good question. The only consequence is that it would move that lot back further, and it goes into the setback, as you can see from the brook that's back there.
Okay.
And in order to be able to keep these lots out of those setbacks with minimal impact, environmental impact to the wetlands, we designed them where they are.
And you can't make that lot smaller?
No,
Okay.
some of these lots are oversized, that one is not.
Oh, I see.
Do you have the plan, Jim, that shows the built road as opposed to the right-of-way?
Uh,
Do you have one that shows like a darker proposed built road?
Although they could get
This plan?
some
I'm
more.
just wondering if that helps
land than this
explain.
So if you see the plan on your screen, I've sort of illustrated that the more typical Egypt Road right-of-way in red, and then the 100-foot setback from there obviously is well away from our proposed development, with the exception of that small section in the corner.
So it's a corner of the proposed right-of-way that's within the 100.
Mhm. Well, in this area anyway,
So,
this isn't being wooded, this is, because it's got stormwater and things in it anyway.
Well, it's a stormwater buffer, so it's an undisturbed forested buffer that we're
Oh, okay.
proposing there. So it'll remain, there's no ability to do any development there in the future.
so here's my thought. Doesn't seem like a big deal. Probably shouldn't have been there, but bringing this up at final approval is not the time to be doing it. if we were going to address it, it should have been addressed at sketch plan.
Yeah, I agree with
I don't
you.
think it's so small, it's not reasonable to
Right.
be asking them to make those kind of changes now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty minimal. I think we should have picked up on it early in the process
Yeah,
and asked them to adhere to it, but.
right. And I do like that there's even more buffer in this area than they are technically required to do, which I really like the way that they really
Yeah.
maintained that buffer, so I agree with you. We're good.
Virginia?
What's the potential that that road will be extended into the Raymond in next 20 years?
Yeah, especially with the topo over on that side.
You see?
But the subdivision's gonna be there forever.
Hang on, just one person at a time. So Jenny asked a question. I mean, I don't know that they can answer it.
No, it's pretty.
It was a rhetorical
It's
question.
a rhetorical
Yes,
question. So, from my perspective, like, if there is really no future for that road, why even to build it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just do the driveway for that lot and leave permeable surface.
Go ahead, David. Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, well, it doesn't comply. So the state should be saying, okay, not us.
We have the ability to allow this, right? It's not,
This buffer is a town ordinance requirement. The 100-foot buffer is supposed to be around the development. Because it's a denser development, because it's residential open space, that's the vision. Because it's supposed to be denser, you're providing some buffering to the road and to the abutters. That's the concept. But it's not a DOT requirement to your question.
Yeah,
So
okay.
basically, we have three options. We can find a way to waive the buffer that the connection infringes on. We can find a way, there's also another ordinance that requires there be a connection to nowhere. So we could find a way to maybe not require that, or we can require them to meet the ordinance. Like, those are the three options.
I like the second one.
oh,
Got it.
stop the enter.
So we can ask Kristen about that.
Yeah, I could
Is that something that's
buried reference
possible?
dig it up.
I mean, they're not planning to build it anyways. So
Yeah,
it
I
makes
actually
some sense to me.
prefer to reserve the potential connection, only because if in the future another one is developed adjacent, I would rather see an internal road, even if it were private, be built one day, even though there's a little triangle that is too close to the main road. That's my preference. That seems unlikely to come up anytime in the near future. It's another town with different requirements. So my preference would be the first option that you said, which is let it go, and in the future, we need to keep a sharper eye and flag such a matter earlier so that their entire plan isn't so close to final at this point.
Right.
So,
The language you asked for, if you
Go
want,
ahead.
from the
Yeah,
ordinance, the board, it says the board may also require the reservation of a right-of-way easement equal to the right-of-way width of the internal subdivision street in line with the street to provide continuation of the road where future subdivision is possible.
I see.
So it's a may, not a shall. So that is up to you if you want to retain that right-of-way connector or not.
Okay.
Oh, so they're not planning on building it,
Yeah,
and that one is more straightforward
yeah.
to me, because someone, if they do want to build it, they can come back to the planning board, and then they can ask to create that connection, and they can ask for a waiver to the 30 feet, and then they can go to the town of Raymond and do what they want to do over there. I mean, if they're not even planning on building this to the line,
Right.
what's the point in requiring it?
Chris, how often do towns like this connect one development to another. I can't imagine that's, I've never heard, I mean, I haven't even heard of that.
I haven't been at this long enough to speak to
Very,
that.
I'm just saying.
Well, even from the-
The reality of that happening is,
Even from the perspective of Texas, they will have like entrance definitely from Raymond side. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't think that there is future for that road.
All right,
I'm
I
on
could
board
be
with that.
persuaded of that, yeah.
All right, so sounds like what we're landing on then is, well, we're not even waiving it, it's a may require.
Right, so if you want
So-
that, if you're okay with that being removed from the plan to resolve,
So
that's just,
I think
doesn't, you probably even require a formal motion, but if
Right.
they're still not meeting the 100 in any areas, that would require, I think, a formal motion for you to
Okay.
allow them to stray from that dimensional standard.
I'll let everyone, I'll do a little straw vote for you, so it's 100%. But
Okay.
I think what we're landing on is we're going to not require that connection, and that you need to meet the 100-foot setback everywhere.
Well, that's, that would be a bit of a challenge because even though the roadway, the traveled way is not going to be constructed at the end, because there's, again, no reason to go there, the length of the road, or excuse me, the width of the lot requires that frontage to be there.
That was why they put it.
Oh, that's why.
I knew there was a reason why that was there.
Yeah.
They needed it for
Yeah.
the frontage.
That's a different section, though, than the future connector, correct? The frontage you're providing on the right-of-way is a separate section from the
They
ri-
need-
future right-of-way
they need
connector
that
piece.
for their
Yeah.
frontage.
I think even if we
They
get
don't
rid
have
of
any
the
road
future
frontage
connection,
without
we
it.
still have a little sliver of that road.
Yeah, that's where the sliver is. Not here. I see.
Really annoyed by this.
This project did not show a setback line in the prior, and that was one of the things I had flagged. That's why it's in number 8, that there's no setback line. So when we got that on February 9th, that's when it came to our attention that it was not meeting. Yes, I probably should have measured it before. It is something I missed,
That's fine.
without having one on the.
You don't miss much, so.
That's where we're at this point. So it is within your authority to allow it to be less than the 100 in some areas, to whatever your discretion is.
I have an idea. If they remove this note that says right-of-way reserved for future connection to neighboring properties, so that goes away, and they have the sort of this right-of-way line, but they don't build it, because why would they? And then this side, there's a big gap, so they're not gonna build it, then that ensures that there isn't an actual road, even if there is one on the plan. So that's a bit of a, I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually probably a decent idea. So you get what she's saying?
Yeah.
Basically, show the road for the width of the frontage of your lot, but not extending past it, because it takes the buffer to get to the town of Raymond line.
If you want to bring up my plan again, just to double check that.
So
That little
she's saying
rectangle
extend-
note.
Yeah, we get rid of this.
You would
but
remove that.
If the road was still built to the, full frontage, we're
But
still
there's-
Right,
within
but her
100
point
feet.
is, the road's not gonna be built because it can't go anywhere, because it stops at the property line. It doesn't get to the town line, where then there could be another development.
Yep.
We could identify that little triangle as a no-build zone,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And as soon as we identify that on the plan, not to be built,
Yeah,
then we've got the 100 feet.
Right,
yeah.
so remove the extension through the buffer that gets you to the town line.
Mhm.
We don't need to waive it because it's a may require. So your road goes,
On the plan, it goes,
to
but it
your
isn't
pro-
gonna
the edge of
be
your property,
built.
the edge of the lot line, sorry, not the property line. And then you put your no build.
But, so, we'd, I don't know if you see the red line, we'd still be, are you saying
that.
cut the road
Yep.
before the red line, or we're still?
No, your road, Your road has to go all the way across the lot to get your frontage.
The right of way has to go all the way across the road.
Right.
The right
The
of way,
design has
sorry.
to go that
The
far.
right of way has to go all the way across.
Right, but you don't have to build it, and you have no reason to, and no one has a reason to in the future, so
Okay.
realistically, it ensures that there's a buffer, even though it's technically in a right-of-way, because no one's gonna ever build a road in that spot.
Yep.
with-
Yeah,
I understand
that's a
that.
great idea. And
So,
that's, takes care of
Road to the lot line,
Yep.
take the rest away that gets you to Raymond, and then mark everything within the 100 feet that's in that right away, road right away in front of the lot, no build.
Yeah,
And no waiver will be needed.
that's right. That make
All right.
sense?
Yes.
You got lucky. All right.
All right, is that gonna have to be a condition?
No, I just want to make sure everyone understands what we're talking about.
I think we're clear, yeah.
Okay,
Is everyone on the board clear what
Yep.
we're agreeing to? David?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So back to the motion for approval.
I think to your question, Melinda, I think that might be handled by number 5 in the draft motion,
okay.
requiring input from the board to be addressed as part of the amendments for the final plan, unless you want to call it out more
Oh, wait,
explicitly.
I'm looking at,
Thank you.
that's
mean,
the wrong one.
You know what we're talking about.
Yes,
so
I know
you're
what we're
gonna see
talking
it on the
about.
plan.
Sure, I'm sure it'll
I'll
get
use
done.
this.
Oh, Egypt Road, I skipped ahead, sorry about that. It's number 5. Draft motion.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the,
Bridge 5. no?
oh, 5, okay. Okay. notes made. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. And actually, the placeholder language will apply because we did grant all those waivers.
Yep.
Okay. Are we ready for a motion now?
I'm ready.
Okay, okay. Move to approve the application by Habitat for Humanity of Greater Portland for Planning Board final plan review of a proposal to create a 7-lot major subdivision on the 23 plus or minus acre Rory Maloney property abutting the town of Raymond line on Egypt Road, tax map 11, lot 308-6261-007 in the Lake Zoning District and Shoreland Zoning Stream Protection Zoning District. This proposal is subject to major subdivision review and shoreland zoning standards and to the following conditions numbered 1 through 7, including a placeholder number 6 being as follows. The applicant has requested and the planning board granted at its February 12th, as in today, 2026 meeting, the following waivers which are required to be noted on the face of the final signed subdivision plan submittal, the date of approval, the waivers, the 401.13.1D requirement for stone or concrete monuments at all property corners, the 401.13.15C4 requirement for streetlights at the road intersection and subdivision dead end, the 401.7.3.D phosphorus management plan, and the 401.1312G flooding standard.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
We discussed everything already.
I have to do it, have to ask. All in favor? It's 4-0. All right, you're off.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I like it.
Okay, next up is new business. More new business. We already had some new business. This is 45 Portland Road Site Plan Amendment Pre-Application Conference. This is a request by Loon Island LLC, represented by DM Roma Engineers, for Planning Board pre-application review of a proposal to amend the site plan for the lot at 45 Portland Road, tax map 43, lot 404-176-001 in the commercial zoning district, and the abutting lot at tax map 043, lot 404-176-000 in the commercial and RRA zoning districts and the shoreland zoning districts of limited commercial and resource protection. This is an amendment to a 2023 site plan conditional approval for 45 Portland Road and is an expansion of the retail trade use with accessory storage and garage space. The proposal is subject to site plan amendment, major site plan, and conditional use reviews, and MDEP preservation area restrictions and the shoreline zoning standards. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Will.
Introduce yourself, sign in, I think. Is there a sign in?
There is right here.
Yeah. Let us know what you're looking to do.
DM Roma couldn't make it. Jason was sick. My name is Will Boyle, represent Loon Island, and you pretty much summed up everything. We're looking for a site plan amendment, and it's going to be a phased approach. Some of the things that the town has been looking for quite some time is to close the entrance across from the Big Apple and to put the road directly across from Turnpike Acres Road. So this is part of what we're proposing with this. It's going to be a phased approach.
That's it for the overview? Okay.
Did you get the updated plans that pulled the area out of the residential? Because Jason, you said you were circulating them, but you didn't have paper. I have paper copies because I think Jason was going to bring them.
Okay, if you have paper copies for the board, I'd
I
certainly
don't-
suggest handing them out. I don't know
As
that
far
I
as
got
I know,
those.
the ones we have still had the,
The roadways are still in the same place. It's
Okay.
just
Yeah.
it's pulled back the parking area.
yeah, take a look at that.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, that's with reference to a
Right.
legal question I emailed you all about.
Right, so that's,
RRA cannot have a resale use and you don't have authority to waive it.
right.
Okay. Thanks.
So it's showing as snow storage now. Is that, am I reading that
Oh,
right?
I see, right here.
Used to extend over that line, and now
Correct,
it's,
yeah.
now it's snow storage.
Yeah, if you can explain that for David, I don't think we have a digital to show him.
Getting blind.
I don't have a good way to give them a camera.
No, I think,
So, David, basically to describe to you, if you remember, Kristen sent us a note that talked about how they are not able, or we're not able to waive, even if we wanted to, the incursion into the RRA zone. And there's a line towards the back of the property that cuts across the 3 or 4 pads, and he has basically shrunk the retail RV inventory locations to now be back within the commercial zoning district. So that piece has been addressed. That's what we're looking at
Right.
for new plan.
Okay,
Okay.
yep, sounds good.
So, it's a bunch of town staff comments. Have these been worked through? Some of them are still must-haves, like about lots being merged and stuff like that, like,
right, I don't know if the merger is a requirement, it was more of a question, because I think that you had mentioned that they were merged, but they're not
So
showing
they
up
were-
as that in the deeds, so.
I think with your ordinance, they have to be merged because like when it was Tiamup owned it, they split the lots, and they gave the Allstate lot, the 1.14 acres, I think they gave them like 240 feet of frontage, and they made the back acreage non-conforming because it only had 42 feet of frontage. So it's non-conforming. When I bought them in two different entities' names,
Right.
and now we have put them both into Loon Island.
Okay.
So I think with your, they have to be combined at some point, because one of them is non-conforming.
Well, if they're in the, if they're owned by the same entity at this point, they are merged.
Essentially, yeah. They're on the same deed, but there's two different descriptions on the deed,
Okay.
is how they did
Yeah,
it.
but if they're, I mean, I'm just thinking legally, if they're owned by the same entity, then they are merged, even if there's descriptions or, anyways, that's
Right.
just. So no, so your
So-
lot is no longer non-conforming because it's now
Correct.
in a single entity owns
Correct.
them both? Okay.
Reunited, we called it.
Okay, so it's pre-application conference, I guess. What would you like to get from us? Would be, what I'd hate to do or don't want to do is put you in a position, you don't have your engineer here, and I don't want to, like, have you end up committing to something that you wished you didn't because your engineer wasn't here, so I'd rather not cover details like that, because typically there's a lot of stuff in here that, you know, it just needs to be addressed, like impervious percentages and all that stuff. It's like.
I'm
you just
pretty
gotta-
versed on that. I'm not.
What's that?
I'm pretty versed on that.
Okay.
So we're
So-
taking a phased approach. So the first portion of this, we have a 2,400 square foot building, it's a wood frame building. So
Yep.
that's the first thing we're going to be building out in that area, because we have to, that is less than 1 acre of impervious surface that we're going to be disturbing. So by permit by rule, we can move ahead with that if you grant us permission to do it. So then we have, that was the 15-day waiting period that Jason sent into the DEP, and it should be just about up. I don't know the exact date, it was about 2 weeks ago. So once he's done with that, we're going to move on to the next phase with applying with the DEP for the 1 to 3 acre of disturbing or creating impervious area. So that's about a 150-day waiting period for that. So while we're going through that period, we'll be back here in front of you with updated plans and answering any questions that you have about the project. So in this first phase, we will not be creating the road across from Turnpike Acres. We would just be essentially extending the parking area where American Modular is back to where that building is proposed, the 2,400 square foot building. And then the final phase will be a few years down the road. I don't know whether we need to get into the weeds talking about that too much right now, but we can if you want.
I think if you're looking for a full approval from the board, they would approve it all as one. If you're looking for a phased approval, then you probably want to put phase lines to let them know, and then you would come back for,
Well, that's going to depend on them, what they want to do, really. I mean, I would look for a full approval, yes, but if they want to take a phased approach, that's fine.
I think typically for site,
they
you look
go-
at it as a whole, and then he would just build it as.
Right,
As you
we
want to.
have to do it phased with the DEP because
Right.
of the, yeah.
But
just the
this
way it's-
process, they typically look at as like one site plan.
Yeah.
Subdivision phases come back to you for phases, further phase approval. Site plan, it's not contemplated as much.
Do they have to have a certain amount built in order for the site plan not to expire, or?
There is substantial
Well,
start, substantial construction.
That was going to be my comment, is if we approve the whole thing, they don't want to get hung up by not doing enough work. If that
Right,
becomes
the
a
catch
problem.
with doing it piecemeal is going to probably be the stormwater and the stormwater management and traffic circulation and those type of things. I think it might be a little tough to consider piecemeal, but
Well, with the stormwater management is not going to be piecemeal because we're going to have to build the pond that meets the standards that will,
for the whole,
for
all
the whole
phases.
project. That's going to be one of the first things that's built. So the only reason we're taking a phased approach or a stepped approach is because of the way the DEP has it set up with creating impervious area.
So you would build your stormwater for all of the impervious area that you would have one day. You just wouldn't actually build all of the impervious area because of the DEP process.
Correct.
Yeah, but it's not shown where the retention pond will be.
Yeah.
I have a more general question that I think would be useful for you to share up there. Can you just describe a bit more about the intended business and what you plan to do and not do, just for the public's benefit and mine?
Yeah.
Like,
So.
what is it that you're proposing and what
So
operations happen there?
I own American Modular.
Yep.
And a couple of years ago, we had looked into bringing in what's called park models. So it's in between a single wide trailer and almost like a camper, right? You see them down on Old Orchard Beach, around some of the lakes, things of that nature. So I placed an order for 6 of them, and they wouldn't ship them because they told me I needed to have an RV license. So I went through the process of that, and my neighbor happens to be Dan Craffey, who owned Lee's Family Trailers. And we were having a conversation a year and a half ago, and he said, he was telling me about the business that he did, and he said, if you're gonna get an RV license, you should look at doing RVs. So I took a step back and I worked with my finance people, and we, looked at the market in Maine, and we look at the town of Gray. We look at that it's a minute and a half off the exit, and we think that it is a great business for the town of Gray because it's a destination business. People are gonna be traveling here to come here, and they're gonna spend a lot of money, and they're gonna go to Fisherman's Net, they're gonna go to the Sweet Spot, they're gonna go to China Gray, they're gonna go to the Subway, the different businesses that are in Gray. We also look at it as it's a potential big employer for the town, because it's gonna be a pretty good size operation by the time we're done and we get all the phases built out, the DEP phases built out of the project. So this sort of evolved as, just trying to bring in 6 units that we could sell, and the state said we had to get another license. So we went ahead and did that. And then when we started looking at the market in the state of Maine and where we're located, we saw a bigger opportunity here. So we've already, I can't talk out of school yet because 2 of the contracts we haven't signed. So we have 2 major manufacturers that we've been able to bring in. So we have the coverage for the entire state of Maine.
So you pivoted to more like, these are like traditional RVs?
Yes.
As opposed, and would you still also do the park models?
We're going to do the park models, we're going to do the modular homes, we're going to do everything.
Okay, so the other ones stay on the other business, part of the other business, and park models and RVs are part of this one?
Correct. We're going to have to move these units around a little bit when we
Yeah.
move the roads.
Okay.
So.
So it's primarily a retail sales operation?
Correct.
That's the main thing, and then, let's see, there's like some accessory uses of holding tanks and propane. So
Yeah, so
what's the idea there?
So the holding tanks are for people to dump their black water, gray water, whatever they call it. So there's no leach field hooked up to that, so it's just an underground 2,000-gallon tank where people come in with a camper, whether it's serviced or whether they're a customer and they have a place to dump it rather than dumping it someplace that they shouldn't be dumping it. So, once that tank is filled, we call Doug McAtee and he comes up and pumps it out. So it's just a holding tank is all it is. Nothing leaches into the ground. The propane is just to service the people with the RVs because, and for our own use, because if you sell an RV, you need to fill the propane tank when it leaves.
So the plan would be to do service also?
Yes.
Or maintenance, service? Okay.
Everything.
We have one filling station, right?
What's that?
In the town, we have only one filling station, or two. Both hardware stores have
Propane? Yeah,
filling
both do.
stations.
Yeah, both of them do.
Well, maybe that will create a little competition. I hope.
So is there any specific feedback you're looking for us on? Any guidance? Like, as you come back here with more detailed plans?
Well, I've been here a few times. I mean, the main concern, I think, with prior meetings was about the Turnpike Acres moving the road and then closing the other road, the other entrance to the 45 Portland Road. So I think we've, you know, based on those conversations that we've had with, internally with staff and with the planning board for the last few years, I think we got everything sort of dialed in where everybody wants it. And we've, you know, looked at, you know, what the town is looking for businesses. And, you know, we had looked at a bunch of different types of developments out in this back acreage, but this one seems to fit very well because there's a lot of sand out there and loam, but it's wet. You know, when you go down 3 feet, it's wet out there, so it really isn't something that would be great for residential development because you wouldn't be able to put the septic systems in that would be required.
Just before we go off the road, so Kristen, in your mind, the curb cut closure and road location and all that is resolved with this new proposal?
Yeah, that piece, like Will said, was part of older conversations dating back to, I think, 2018.
Yep.
So yeah, it's ideal. What he's showing is what the town has asked for years, to realign that intersection as a four-way for potential, you know, light
The only
in
other
future
thing that
maybe.
was in the conversation was about the snowmobile, the ATV trail.
Right.
So we'll just move that out behind the 2,400 square foot building. So it's not gonna change that much. So people will still be able to use that trail and.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sure the Snowmobile Club will appreciate that. So appreciate your consideration there on their behalf. Buffering and landscaping, you're definitely going to want to come back with some of that. I don't think we need to get into it tonight, but I know the board will ask for it, so.
One
Go
thing I
ahead.
would just mention is that I can see there's a wetlands like right up against the road. And I think that wouldn't be where I would be expecting plantings because whatever, it's wetlands, you wouldn't want to disturb it. But there's still, it looks like, more upland area in between the new parking area impervious that you're going to be creating. That I think there's an opportunity there for some vegetation to shield the new impervious area a bit, break it up.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
big wet area right now, and it would need to be, I would say you'd want to probably talk to somebody about what kind of vegetation is going to live in this soil, not just any old thing, because it is different over there.
There's a lot of pine trees naturally growing there, so I'd assume something evergreen would do okay.
Yeah, which would be good buffering.
Willows.
Right.
One thing that I was, sorry to circle back, one thing I was curious about, so you've got the holding tank. I guess the idea would be someone that has an RV might come in with their RV and want to go shopping while they're out using it, right? I mean, is that the general idea, or?
We want
is it-
people to spend as much money as they can in the town of Gray when they're here.
So it's a publicly open location that's advertised as a,
Yeah,
As
I've
in,
talked with Dan Craffey about creating a trail from our property over
Yeah.
to the,
I guess where I was
Grocery
going
store.
is like
Yeah.
the parking and circulation and stuff like that. You're showing parking for regular sized cars, but not like large vehicles. And I was-
that's what
that's
one of the
more or less.
storage areas is gonna be designated for out back. It's not just gonna be for RV storage. It'll be for RV storage for people coming in for the day or 2 days or leaving things for, it's not all for display units.
Oh, okay.
Say that again?
So when people come in with their unit to have it serviced or to drop it off,
Yeah.
some of this area will be designated for them to leave their unit, whether it's a motorized unit or whether it's a tow behind.
Okay.
So the RV storage isn't necessarily just for inventory of new units.
Are you anticipating people occupying them while they're there, or is it they specifically excluded from staying there?
That's something that we're gonna need to address in the future, because I would assume when people are traveling and they're living in their RV and they need to have service, they're not gonna go rent a hotel room. So they may need some place to stay. So that's something we need to think through a little bit more. Because if we do have an area like that, you would have to put in, power service for them and water and things like that.
And I have no idea if that's allowed, disallowed, like,
Yeah, that would be
That's-
a different use and a
Right.
question for codes. And the holding tank is also a codes question, a holding tank that is not hooked up. I think Tammy had gotten some legal advice on that, so you have to follow up with her on that. That
Okay.
piece, I think it needs to be hooked up.
To a leach field?
Yeah, we'll have to touch on that.
No.
I know she got more info on that, so we can touch base with her, but
Okay.
as we wrap up, the amendments to the plan. As far as adding like overnight, that's a
So-
different question.
yeah, I
That
guess
is not
for our
realistic.
purposes, we just need to know specifically what you're proposing.
Yeah, I mean, if
So-
we're gonna propose something, somewhat of a major change like that, where people are gonna be parking there and spending the night, we will come back with that. We'll talk with code and
Yeah.
planning and see if that's something that they can decide on and help us with that, or if we have to come back in front of you. But right now, that's not in the plan.
Okay. I think it's going to be important that we're very specific about what the use is and what we're doing, so like customers don't, we don't want some situation where, one thing is approved and it shifts into something else and people are unhappy either because it happened or because they can't do something that
Yep.
they thought they could. So I guess my point is, let's be very clear about what the intentions are and what's approved, so there's not misunderstandings later,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah, and I mean, Kristen's got some notes, lighting, and, there's just stuff you're gonna have to do when you come back. We don't need to talk about it now. Does the board have any other comments around, I think Kristen was specifically wanting us to provide feedback on, like, traffic circulation, pedestrian circulation, any specific concerns, like anything that we can help him, like, set his plan in motion with, anything you're gonna wanna see later?
Well, I'm just wondering how the retail RV space / potentially parking area, as the zoning will allow it for people to stay there for a couple
Well,
of days.
Right.
that was my question to
Okay.
Kristen. It's labeled as retail, but it's really it's retail service. I guess service could be called retail, but traditionally, like, you think of retail as, these are a bunch of things for sale, but it's not only that, but also things that are being maintained. And to his point, what we don't want is, you have to be very clear, if someone's RV breaks down, what can they and can't they do if they're
Right.
coming in for service? Like, we're not gonna get into it now, because the applicant needs to determine what
Yep.
he wants to have happen. And then
Yep.
It's not
Tammy and
currently
Kristen can
proposed.
advise them on what can happen, and.
Yep, I think that would fall under campground, but that's
well,
Tammy's determination. So if that is a route you want to go, we'll get
No,
that
my
prepped
parents on a
for,
campground, I don't want it on the
come back.
The one thing, Mr. Chairman, is lighting. Think about that. This right now is just,
Dark.
it's dark, and,
Oh, there's lights there now.
well,
I
no,
told
but
Kristen if we turn them on, there's gonna be a lot of complaints from North Yarmouth. The driving range lights are still there and they're still operational.
okay, well,
So at some point, they got approval for lighting on the site.
we want to do better
I
than
know,
what you
yeah.
have, is what I'm saying.
We don't want the people from North Yarmouth.
So,
having it,
yeah, you want downward facing and, the minimal light, you want safety, but, and this again ties back to your use, right? If you've got people staying there, then you need a different lighting situation than if you're only really selling and servicing. So you really have to sort out your use in a rather specific way, because that's going to speak to really a lot of things, including lighting. So,
Right now, we're not proposing anybody spending the night there. So that would be an amendment we would do later if we came back and wanted people to spend the night there. If someone's RV breaks down and they, that's something that they need to deal with. That's not our problem. And we're not going to let people just spend the night there because their RV broke down.
Well, if you think that you're just going to get approval and you come back later, if that's not allowed in this zone for campgrounds or something, that might not happen, is all I'm saying.
I
So,
understand.
All right.
Okay.
I don't know what else we can do.
Don't have enough information to do much more, I think.
Anything from your end?
Yeah, so
Hang on.
just
wait.
a little bit.
Okay, go ahead, David.
So I'm just a little bit confused. So I was looking at this map, and this is built right straight across from Turnpike Acres Road.
Right.
And if you go straight across, like I went on maps, there's some buildings already there where this is going to be built.
Those are our display units, modular display units, which we're going to be moving.
Oh, they look like they're
So-
built on Google Maps, but they're not.
They're not.
Mobile.
Okay.
Makes sense. Kristen?
So is the
Oh,
hang on, I gotta open this back up. So the major portion of it with the pavement and the parking spots and all that, that is, all right, I got it. Never mind.
okay. Kristen?
I think I was just looking to make sure I have input from you, particularly about like traffic circulation. Like if you had any input for the applicant at this point, so I'm clear on the board's wishes, on traffic circulation, pedestrian circulation, parking for regular cars, parking for RVs, how you want that delineated, how you want that shown. Right now, there's not detail, and part of this meeting is getting an idea of the direction you want that to go. Like, do you want to see all RV traffic going through all of the site? Did you want to see it gated? Do you want to, some sort of detail? I don't know if you had thoughts on how you would like the applicant to come back with detail on this, on that element in particular. And I know we're hearing tonight that some of that retail space now, you're thinking, is parking anyway for people who are there for service or stopping in to look at the showroom or whatever.
We
if they have a
didn't
larger
intend on
vehicle.
putting any gates in because people are just going to break in if you put a gate up. So it's, I've talked with different people that own places and they said, do not put a gate up. Camping World that's being rebuilt in Wyndham, they set it up. They moved the buildings, building new buildings, so you can't even drive out back. You have to go through the building to get out back.
Yeah, those are the type of details. Like I was hoping to get some input if you had thoughts on that at this stage. But.
I mean, whatever
Yeah,
the
how
engineer
about
puts
some
together
kind of
for
a turning
plan.
lane,
Like, I don't know, there's nothing here, so.
right?
it
By
looks
design,
fine.
it's a very simple plan.
Right.
So
So these are going
Go
to be
ahead,
some
Dave.
big rigs, and they're going to be slowing traffic down, things like that. Who provides the turning lanes? Because I see those at some places like that. Is that the state or is that the business that's put it in?
It's a state rule.
The turning lane on
Yeah.
Portland Road? Or on and off?
Well,
Portland?
there'd be like a off ramp coming up from the south, and then you'd have to have like maybe I call them suicide lanes in the middle for coming from the north.
Is that needed?
Right, those are required for developments that trigger a certain level of traffic, that would have a lot of traffic, like maybe like a really popular drive-through restaurant or something. We don't have traffic data from Will yet, but I doubt this would trigger that
Less
as
than-
being a retail
less
storefront.
than 50 cars a day. I don't think
Yeah.
it's going to even come close.
My only comment on the traffic circulation is that, and again, it's kind of tough since it seems like what we're looking at here on this plan is retail, but you're saying service, and so that's a little bit different. But, I would suggest that when you come back the next time, you have some pedestrian guidance and you have like, okay, this is the direction that most of the service ones will go, but I don't have an opinion about what that should be because I don't know your business, but I would think that you would want to make sure that it's clear where pedestrians are good to walk and where your traffic and big RVs are going. I don't know what that would be, but it seems like you would want to be
Yeah, I
clear
mean,
on
we'll
that.
probably have some signage out there, but the parking spots for the cars are out in front, and then the employee entrance is on the side. It's labeled on those. I don't know if you can see it. And then, when people come in with RVs to check in for service, they'll just pull up. Like any, auto dealer, you pull up and it says, pull up to this point, and you
Yeah.
stop and you get out. They're not going to be driving through the property.
Yeah, oh, so these are drive-through bays I see on the small plan.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So those are going to be employees that are going to be bringing things in and out of the bays.
Yeah.
And, you have to have some level of service, because when you get a new unit, you got to pull the plastic off, take
Yeah.
the stickers off the windows,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So the idea is customers stop short somewhere on the road or in front, like near the warehouse, and then an employee takes it from there?
Yeah, there'll be a sign out by where the 2,000-gallon tank is to pull up and stop here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually a dumping
Really
station.
tiny
They,
little things
they're
there.
precast.
Yeah, it's a big septic tank.
Okay.
So choose your poison. You either put that in, or they're going to dump it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Behind the IGA or the Shop and Save or wherever it is.
That's disgusting.
No, it's not.
Well, dumping it behind
I don't know what more we can do.
Okay.
Bunch of stuff to work out.
It's fine if it's in the tank.
We'll definitely want to see a buffering plan. I know that'll come up, so,
Fertilizers.
and I would just say, my guidance is be specific, because I just get the sense this could merge with people's expectations of what it is, whether it's customers or the operator or whatever. So I just want to be really clear what it is and what it isn't when we get to approval.
Right.
Anything else from the board?
I'm wondering where the retention pond is planned to be.
For stormwater.
It will be a lot of storm water.
The earlier plan, I believe, had showed
Yeah.
it here.
Oh,
It's not
I
on
don't
this
have it on mine.
updated one, no.
This one, it's the big one, the big plan, there it is. But it's not designed yet, obviously.
well, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a sketch plan.
Oh, that's upside down.
Yeah, it's right
There we go.
somewhere here.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't have
Okay.
it fully designed until it goes through the DEP.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So we look forward to seeing you back here.
So one question before I leave, you're going to approve the whole thing, or can we get the approval for this 2,400 square foot building to go ahead and start building that?
That piece to the board's question earlier. The time limit on approval is substantial construction must substantially commence within 12 months and be substantially completed within 24 months of the date of approval. So substantially commenced is substantial start is 30% of the permitted structure or use measured as a percentage of the estimated total cost. So I don't think that building's going to be anywhere near 30% of your total cost of probably doing this whole site.
That building's 300,000. Phase 1 is 3.5 million. Phase 2 is 2 million.
So it's
So
probably
you got 5.5 million, so it's less than 10%.
right. So that's not going to be enough to get this approved as a whole and only do that building within the first year.
We're not just doing that building within the first year. We want to get started on that building right away, is what we want to do. So the 8,000 square foot building, we're planning on hopefully starting that in August, September. Phase 1 of because we have to wait for the DEP to get done there.
I
Right.
think what she's saying is you have 2 years, though, to substantially complete.
Right, to
That's what's
substantially
more.
complete. I think we can talk through
Yeah,
this
we
well,
don't
and go
need to
through
do
more about
this
how you want to
tonight.
phase, but I think I would probably suggest that you do a full site plan approval with this board, and if you need to extend, you come back before them
Yeah.
and ask for an extension.
Why would we need to extend? Because we're just going by what the DEP timelines are.
Yeah, and we have timelines in the ordinance as well for completion. So if you're not going to be able to meet them, you just come back and say, hey, I can't meet them, but I'm not changing what you approved, and ask this board for
Okay.
just a timeline extension.
Gotcha.
It's not.
Like, we've had several
Yeah.
cases where the state takes longer and longer than you expect, and,
Right. And that way you know you have their full sign off on your whole vision, your whole site plan.
right.
And it's a done deal. You just need more time.
To build it.
But if you want to approach it differently, I'm happy to sit down with you. We can go over that. But I think that'd probably be the cleanest approach.
So do we need planning board approval to do the 2,400 square foot building?
If it's coming off of the new pavement and the newly aligned road,
It's not.
that's how it's shown on the plans right now.
Well, it is, yeah, but we have another plan just for that building, that, where it comes off the back of the American Modular lot in between the two model units that are there.
Okay, I think let's have a conversation with that with Tammy
Okay.
and talk about that. She might be willing to view that as an accessory use to your current use right now, the modular
That's how we applied,
home
we
sale.
already applied for the permit about a week ago, so that's how we applied for it. as an
So
accessory
if that's viewed that way and it's going to be in the location where it's going to be for this board to review and that's not changing, then she may be willing to approve that as a building permit as an accessory to what you're already doing.
building. Okay.
And then they can review the rest of the whole site plan. But yeah, let's have a sit down with her like next week or when you're on.
Thank you.
So that's fine.
So-
I guess the only thing I would say is there's the risk of the board having some desire that that isn't in the place, in the location where it's already built, because the board's going to consider the whole plan.
Right, but it would be coming to you as built
I know, I
effectively.
understand.
Yeah.
Just putting it out
It's-
there. I'm not
yes.
saying it's going to happen, but
Are we going to approve this sketch plan or
No.
the amendment?
nope.
No?
This is just us giving feedback. Okay.
Okay.
All right, you guys have some homework, so look forward to seeing what you came up with.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
One more. Okay, this is new business, public hearing. GNG High School, Middle School, and Route 26 Safety Improvement Site Plan Amendment. This is a request by the Town of Gray and Maine School Administrative District 15, represented by Sebago Technics Engineering for Planning Board Major Site Plan Amendment Review of a proposal to improve pedestrian access ways along Libby Hill Road in the school campus area of Route 26 and add an emergency access way to the Gray New Gloucester High School parcel map 27 lot 15-009 located in the rural residential and agricultural zoning district and portions of property and business transitional 1 and wellhead protection 2. This proposal is subject to major site plan review. Welcome.
Hey there. My name is Nikki Conant, and I am representing Sebago Technics this evening on behalf of the town. Can you see the plans on your end?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's this little attachment. Oh, there we go. I just lit up.
It usually plugs in, then you have to hit it till it lights up.
We have paper. A lot of it.
All right, well, we can certainly get started. With me tonight is Michael Feely, our lead transportation engineer from Sebago Technics. So Sebago was retained by the town in conjunction with Gray New Gloucester Schools to design new sidewalk infrastructure to support additional pedestrian connectivity as well as a new emergency access point for the high school. So within the plans that you've received, it's kind of broken up into what I would consider 3 sections. First is 1,700 linear feet of new sidewalk along Libby Hill Road. The extents of that work include a 5-foot bituminous new sidewalk with bituminous curb. Libby Hill Road's not currently curbed, so there's associated drainage infrastructure to be installed in conjunction with the installation of the curb. 500 feet of that is actually existing sidewalk on Libby Hill Road that's being reconstructed as a part of this to ensure compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act through the duration of the project. There is a crosswalk location between the new sidewalk that we're installing and existing sidewalk for the middle school. We are providing additional ramps and landings that are ADA compliant for that crosswalk, as well as pedestrian scale lighting. On Route 26, we are implementing about 400 linear feet of new sidewalk between Spruce Drive and Sandy Hill. Same thing, this is going to be bituminous curb with bituminous sidewalk, 5-foot sidewalks. We've held the curb location as is today for the sake of cost implications and impacts. Route 26 is a corridor priority 1 roadway, so Maine DOT has been involved as a part of our conversations. We did have a kickoff meeting for this project in July with town staff and Maine DOT, as well as the school board, so they've all been involved throughout the duration of advancement of these plans. And then the third component of the project is the emergency access. It's about 16 feet by 350 feet, intended to be paved as well. As a part of that, there will be some tree removals. The new roadway is intending to kind of follow that existing gravel-worn path that's there. So we tried to limit tree removal as much as possible, but due to the location of the access and having to align it with the parking lot aisles, as well as some utility pole relocations, there are a number of trees that will be removed as a part of that. I think that's kind of a high level of what we're planning to do in terms of design. Hopefully the plans have popped up on your end.
We have the paper copies. That's
Well, we can certainly talk in more detail about any aspects that you have questions on. I have them in front of me, so.
all right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Any questions from the board?
Yes.
Go ahead, Jenny.
So this proposed emergency road and gate, what's the reason for it? Because you have intersection controlled like with the street lights at 26. As soon as flashing lights, blue lights will be sensed by the street system, like they will close all the traffic and let them go into the Libby Hill Road, right? So why do we need another emergency entrance, especially if it will be gated?
Yeah, it's my understanding, and Kristen can chime in as well on behalf of the town and the application that was put forward. So part of the component of this project is it has received federal funding to advance to construction, and it's my understanding that the emergency access has been a desire line for the school to provide an ability to provide secondary evacuation as well as entrance if for some reason Libby Hill was cut off from access or one of those access points along Libby Hill was restricted for any reason.
Okay, so it's exit as much as it is entrance?
Yep, and so
probably more.
Yeah, it was designed such that both a fire truck can make an entrance movement and an exit so that it provides dual accessibility.
Oh, okay.
And so the thought also would be that in the case of an emergency, we could station evacuation protocols at that access to funnel out vehicles if necessary. It could be used in a variety of emergency situations.
Okay, other questions?
I go down this road every day, and I don't remember what's there for sidewalks. So, so is the one that's black and white here the new, or?
There is a
Why it's
legend.
existing.
What page are you on? I can
I'm on
help.
this, because there's
Oh, okay.
all of
The
these
legends
things.
at the bottom.
It's proposed.
It says proposed, the checkered one's proposed?
Oh, gotcha, okay.
I think the solid one's
Okay.
what's in place.
I see, okay.
So there's a grant for this? How's this?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the Councilor Gass had worked with former council chair Sandy Carter, and wrote the grant. We had originally gotten the grant money from DOT to do this as a local project. The council decided instead to go with the application that was done for the congressionally directed spending funds. And our congressional delegation was able to get the town this funding. So it's a HUD grant, Housing and Urban Development Community Project Fund grant. So it is federal money. There is a match of $50,000 from the town and $50,000 from the school district, not a match, but a contribution, if you will.
Yeah.
So both the school and the town put in $50,000 in addition to the HUD grant, which was $838,000, something to that effect. So there may or may not be enough money when we finally get to figuring out how much all this is going to be. It might need to be phased at some point, but the vision was that
So
there's.
100K would cover it?
No.
No.
Oh no, we're talking the grant is
No, our
838.
contribution.
Our contribution
It's
with the
100K.
school is 100. So we're
Yeah.
50 and the school's 50.
Oh, so it's the taxpayers 100.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, so it brings it to almost $1 million total.
Okay.
So once we start figuring out, when we actually go out to bid for construction, how much this is gonna cost, it may need to be phased, depending on the expenses.
So it could be, so it technically could be more, so we may have to contribute more type of thing?
It's a possibility.
Okay.
Yeah, those are, these HUD grants take so long that the
Sure.
figures that were
I guess-
used to
guess
do the
in-
application were much less than they
In
are
in
even
my
now.
head, just thinking out loud, we should, go forward, like, as we look at this, I'd like to see, I wonder if the DOT, because they're doing the transformation project, I wonder if they could add that potentially in somehow.
They haven't
So,
offered
good
yet.
ideas. I just want to remind
It's
everyone.
different part.
Planning board
Yeah.
Doesn't deal with money.
Doesn't deal with costs.
Yep.
We look at the project,
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
It's all good, important stuff.
Sure, I'm just,
We're just
yeah.
going to talk about it in the right place.
Yep, I'm happy to fill you in on the background of the grant and anything
Yeah,
else you
that's
want to know offline, but yeah. The project was put forward as a safety measure. There were concerns about there being only one ingress egress to the entire school campus. That was the main concern, and then the sidewalks aren't up to ADA, or don't exist.
I have another question
Is
about,
Je- I started with Jenya. Anything
oh, I'm
else?
sorry about
I'll
that.
just-
Give me a couple minutes.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
The lighting, I'm just, when it comes to, this area is pretty dark, for sure, with kids running around. Having more lighting is a good idea. Having a sidewalk along here, I see kids, I see myself walking up and down this road, so having a sidewalk would be nice. But I would hope that, and I appreciate cost as a consideration for lighting, but I would like to see minimal, downward facing, just safety, but the least amount possible.
Yeah, one of the conversations we also had that could potentially be accomplished outside of this project in particular was mounting more overhead lights to the utility poles that are out there.
Yeah.
So that was an ongoing conversation as well.
Yeah, maybe it's a way to just be efficient, but also just minimize. I mean, most of the kids are going to be walking around not in pitch darkness, because it's going to be closer to the schools. And there's nothing there now, so just having a sidewalk, not to be, making an unsafe situation, but, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, what's the reason for the
Let
sidewalk?
me finish with
Sorry.
Melinda. You had your chance, you're going to wait till the end now.
I'm
I'll
done
be the
now.
last one now.
I'm good. That was my main question.
Okay, I have one thing that comes to my mind, it's the gate. And I think about that facility can be pretty crowded during events, and people, it's basically full with parking. And I'm wondering whether there should be a gate at both ends, because if you have I'm sure you want a gate on the 26th side, right? But on the other side, when it fills up, you could have either during the day, students driving in there and parking in there, There are a couple houses relatively close to either side of that. I mean, because that's, right now, it's like a walking path that has bollards on it.
Yep.
So I think you don't want that to be a high,
Parking
you want it to be a
area.
no-traffic area, except for emergencies.
Yeah,
So
there,
not
there,
people parking, not kids driving in there to park as far away as they can from school and
Yep.
stuff, and visibility and everything.
yeah, that's a great point. We will be putting at a minimum, do not enter signage on that sign, or some sort of signage that indicates it's for emergency access only, but we can certainly talk more about what that looks like as a part of this project.
Yeah, I feel like a do not enter sign isn't enough. It wouldn't have stopped me.
Yeah, maybe there's a temporary application that we could consider, something more like a plastic barrier or something, at least that's not the price of a permanent gate. So we can certainly talk through some of those options.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that was the one thing that came to mind to
Yep,
me.
for sure.
David?
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, is there plans for a bicycle lane?
So that is something that we talked about when we kicked the project off. Typically for full bicycle use, you want to have a 5-foot shoulder adjacent to your curb line. We did an initial pass through to see what that would look like in terms of impacts and cost. And it just had more substantial financial implications to the project. And so we ultimately ended up pulling that into a 3-foot shoulder. So that in itself is not wide enough to consider dedicated bicycle space. And this is only on the side of the new sidewalk on Libby Hill Road. One of the things that we talked about was the potential use of sharrows in the travel lane to accommodate bicycles. So basically just striping that encourages that space is shared for bicycles and vehicles. And you really only want to do that on certain speed roads. So that was a conversation that we hadn't necessarily finalized yet.
Yeah, we should push for that because, I mean, it's like right now, we got the town square we should have pushed years ago on stuff. The longer you wait, the less of chance it's gonna get done. That's all I got, Dan.
Okay, thank you.
Can I?
You may.
May I? So, extension of the sidewalk from Hannaford to Dead End. What's the point of that?
Yeah, it's to provide additional connectivity to that next residential neighborhood area.
Oh, this over
Yeah,
here.
I really don't see a purpose. Sorry.
Purpose for,
For that sidewalk.
well, I mean,
I like it.
whether you agree with the purpose is different than whether you agree it meets the ordinance.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that does bring up my other thing that I forgot about regarding that sidewalk and regarding the emergency exit, which is what about pedestrians that decide to walk out
It will be
the
happening.
exit past your gate? And is there a crosswalk there, which I'm guessing that there's not because it's very close to the intersection?
Yep, so the initial application for funding purposes for this project actually included a crosswalk and an adjacent pedestrian connection aside from just the emergency access. As a group, Maine DOT, the town, and us, we ultimately determined to remove that from the project, just given safety concerns of that location and the proximity to the signal. There is tendencies for vehicles to queue from that signal to that area, and we would not want to see a situation where we're telling pedestrians that they have a safe pathway between cars that are stopped through there, just because it adds challenges to visibility and things of that nature.
Yeah, so I think on that topic, like, do not enter and not a pedestrian access way and
Yeah.
things like that are appropriate, because I agree, you want your people crossing at the controlled signal, not
100%.
not 100 yards away from it on that road.
Yep.
And I'm sure people walk through there now, it's a walking path, so. and maybe the gate helps. I don't know if maybe it should be gated in a way that it's not just gated for the travel lane, but it's gated so that, there's not a walk around either.
Well, that's already fencing.
So I don't know, this one's kind of strange because it's here to us for approval. And we gave a bunch of feedback.
This is still in some level of
You
discussion.
also have to have a public hearing.
But it's-
I haven't
yeah.
forgotten
I'm just-
about that.
It's coming here mostly for
And then go
public
around this
hearing.
way.
Most of it is within the public right of way and is not necessarily a planning board issue, other than the pieces that impact the right of way on the school property, but they're a co-applicant. And also the emergency access
And
on the
then
school
the
property.
school
That's the
kids, I
bigger
don't
piece,
think
is the
they're
amendment to
looking
the
to
school
Hanford to pick
site
up
plan.
lunch.
Right.
So,
So, I mean.
Unless
I
you
don't
have
know,
opposition,
To me,
so-
figuring out that emergency egress is kind of important. Like, I don't necessarily agree with just a gate at one end because it impacts, there's a couple property owners that it impacts that it's adjacent to, and I can easily see people driving in there and parking in there without being prohibited in some way. I'm not saying how it has to be solved, but I'm just saying what I see isn't enough, I don't think.
right, and that can be a condition as well. That needs to be double gated, closed to parking and throughway, however you want to word that.
Because they are seeking full and final approval now, so we can get this going and.
That was our goal. The town has been, all town staff have been working very closely with Sebago Tech and with our environmental consultant for quite a while now to pull this together. And, several steps to the HUD grant, where we're trying to step those through. We can't take any action for quite a while anyway with the
So,
HUD grant.
yeah.
so.
I'm not saying that, I don't want to come in at the 11th hour and say you have to have 2 gates, right? Because it's not, like, you guys have gone through a process and put a lot of thought into it. Just saying that's my feedback, is I see a
Yeah.
potential
Oh, yeah.
concern with parents and attendees and students driving and parking in there, and it should be addressed somehow.
Yeah, I think Nikki had some ideas. So.
Yeah, I'd be curious too, from the fire chief's perspective, what the
All right, that's fine.
impact on response times might look like with having to access dual gates, and if there's a way to kind of like meet in the middle on that. But I
That's
would
why I'm
be,
saying I don't want to like approve it and require 2 gates, because we don't design on demand up here, and I don't want to create something that causes other problems.
What if I added a condition that said that the town planner and engineers and staff shall address the potential for, shall try to limit traffic and then to like figure it out, like not decide how that should be done, but just say that's a condition, is that something should be done to limit access and pedestrian and vehicular traffic in the emergency area when it's not being used. Is that vague enough?
You could do
Is
that,
there
or
a
we could bring
reason
it
for
back
it?
to you in March too.
So that would be, I mean, that's my preference. I mean,
Is to come
there's
back
no,
in
is there
March.
any big urgency to approve it tonight?
I think the goal is just to kind of move through the steps. We've got to get our public hearing input for sure. That's
Right.
that's an important part of tonight. That's why we're trying to get it rolling, because we need to get our
I'd like
public
to do the
input.
public input. I'd like to see them come back. I mean,
Yeah.
we wouldn't do that for a private
That's
applicant.
true.
So why
You're
are we-
right.
Why
You're
are we doing
right.
it for the town?
Yeah,
I
that's
just,
fair.
I don't buy into that. Sorry. It was a good idea, but
Yeah.
like, if any other applicant, we would ask them to come back with a plan, and it's well
Yeah.
thought through, so
That's true.
we gave their feedback. I do want to open it to public comment. So is there anyone from the public here that wishes to speak on this application? Nope, just listening, okay. All right, so I'll close the public comment then. Yeah, I don't know, I don't think a month is gonna affect this project a lot, and that gives them time to think about it and come up with a well-planned solution.
That's fair. I think you're right, that If the existing pressure on the parking is heavy now, it's going to just push into there, so.
Right, people will end up, you know.
It will be a
parallel
parking
park-
lot.
They'll parallel park on it. and-
It will be
figure
a
it out.
parking lot.
Is there a way to offer you all a solution without coming back to do a full meeting attendance? And the reason why I ask is because we're working for the town and the town pays for our attendance at these meetings. And so I want to be efficient with the time and money component of it. And so I'm wondering if there's a way that we could figure that piece out and issue it for some type of review.
You can talk fast when you come back.
Okay.
We actually, one thing we could do is put it at the top of the agenda, potentially.
right.
Yes.
Well, we could have done that anyway.
I know.
Yeah,
but-
and
Next agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I try to put them in order of
Yeah.
No,
who
that's
came
fair,
first.
It is fair.
Yes, I probably submitted last on the day that it was due.
Fairness, but we could potentially do it remote as well.
Oh, okay.
That would be another option, now that you've met.
Yeah, I'm not far. It's not a big deal for me to drive here. I just want to
Yeah.
make sure I'm being cognizant of our budgets and our allocations, so
Yep.
Nice, we appreciate that.
try.
Yeah, like you said, that's a good idea, make it first.
Oh, I was
I don't think
wondering.
you're gonna be here very long. It's like, I think it's,
We just want to address that piece.
nobody has any other
Okay.
issues, right? So the next time they come back.
Well, no, but like parking sometimes, like parking by the Libby Hill can be an issue, and pretty much they're bringing they're bringing the sidewalk to that parking, like, and question is like, can they address like to extend that parking lot a few spaces?
If we had the money, that was discussed,
There was discussed,
but there's not
no money.
enough money, I don't think.
Now that you say that, I just want to make sure I understand this drawing. Because there's traffic ways here.
There are several entrances to the high school.
Yeah, so, but the sidewalk is shown in a block here.
It's a dummied up to
Okay,
give you an
that's-
idea how long it's
yeah,
going to be.
so
Yeah,
there's-
obviously there's going to be.
landings at
yeah.
each of those, right?
Yeah.
Just making sure.
This is not from Sebago Tech. This is a dummied up one. The actual plans in front of you will show those breaks.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right, are we good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I guess we'll see you next month. All right,
I'm sorry, I don't see
so
that.
motion
Motion
to
to
adjourn.
adjourn? I
Second,
move to adjourn?
all in favor? It's unanimous, thanks, everyone.
I don't know.